My child, before the shaking grows louder, before the storm overtakes what you thought was secure, I need you to listen. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Because this is not just another message, this is your final warning wrapped in mercy. And if you click away, you may miss the last call heaven has been sending your soul. Stay. What you hear next could change your eternity. The silence of your midnight prayers reached me more profoundly than the cries of crowns. You believed no one noticed the heartbreak hidden behind the smile you wore, but I was there, counting every tear, gathering every breath you withheld so no one else would see you fall apart. I did not miss your pain. I witnessed the heavy burden you bore when no one else even offered a helping hand. Heaven observed you standing in rooms where you felt invisible, fighting battles while others slept peacefully, and trusting my promise even when nothing seemed to be working. Now listen clearly. This is no longer a season of silence. This is the sound of your rescue. I am no longer whispering. I am declaring over you with the thunder of heaven. Victory stands before you now. This is a critical moment. What you thought was merely another difficult day is actually the final push before everything changes. The suffering that felt like your undoing is becoming the fertile ground where your elevation begins. I am not simply answering your prayer. I'm releasing the fullness of what your heart was too afraid even to ask for. I speak now into your spirit. Lift your head, open your heart, for the victory you doubted would arrive is already walking through your door. Don't miss it. This is your divine turnaround, and it begins right now. Stay in place. I am still speaking. I am not finished. Lean in deeper, because I am not just lightening your burden. I am reversing the entire weight that pressed against you. You've been pulled, stretched, and worn beyond what you thought your soul could bear. But listen carefully. This isn't where you unravel. This is where the tides begin to turn with force. What tormented your thoughts, drained your strength, and whispered that you wouldn't make it through, those things are now collapsing under the power of my intervention. This moment isn't accidental. It's strategic. You've arrived where I intervened to end what you were never meant to carry forever. Do not mistake my stillness for absence. I was counting every second, ensuring the breaking point became a breakthrough point. The tide is shifting mid-battle, not because the enemy weakened. It's because my hand has now lifted your name above the flood. What once surrounded you is now being swallowed by my command. I speak directly to the war that tried to wear your spirit down. It will not win. You are not losing momentum. You are stepping into the divine shift where everything accelerates in your favor. What you thought was resistance was actually the final layer being peeled back before access is granted. The gates are opening, and this is your entrance moment. I am commanding things to fall into place, even those that were out of your reach. There's no more delay, no more circling the same patterns. This is the moment when the war begins to lose its grip on you. I am the one who stretches time and restores what was spent. I am now shortening the path you believed would take forever. Prepare yourself to feel the atmosphere around you shift. The tension that held you back will now push you forward. Resistance will become your momentum. The warfare is becoming a witness to your victory. I am releasing a sudden turnaround. The evidence of your pressing is about to become the testimony of your transformation. And I'm not done. Keep listening. I watched you when you thought it was over, when your soul trembled beneath the weight of everything collapsing. You felt like you were falling apart, but I was weaving something deeper within you, something eternal. That place where you believed you would break was never meant to destroy you. It was the furnace where your destiny was forged. Every sigh, every sleepless night, every time you whispered, "I can't anymore," was heard and held in my hand. What you labeled as failure was fertile ground for something far greater than you imagined. The crushing you felt was not punishment, it was alignment. You were not shattered into pieces. You were being rebuilt from within so that nothing shallow could survive the foundation I'm constructing. You cannot be shaken by mere winds. That collapse you feared wasn't a collapse. It was a reset from heaven. I didn't come to patch up the old. I came to raise something brand new from the ruins. The pain didn't disqualify you. It trained you. You thought the silence meant abandonment, but it was me whispering instructions to your spirit. Too sacred for noise, too holy for crowds. The desert was not empty. It was where I wrote blueprints on your soul that cannot be erased by the storms of the world. You are not fragile. Your fire was tested. You didn't break down. You broke through. What you lost in comfort, I replaced with unshakable purpose. The moment when everything was stripped away was when I placed your true armor on you. I made you strong in the places where you were weak. I made you steady where you once swayed. Look again. Your wounds have become wells, and what once bled now flows with living testimony. This is why I allowed it to press so deeply, because what I'm calling you into cannot be built on shallow strength. I used what came to break you as the hammer to shape you. Even now, I am still carving glory in the hidden places of your journey. What felt like an end is actually the beginning of strength you never knew you had. Keep moving forward. What's coming next will make sense of it all. Do not underestimate the weight of what you survived. Others saw your outward silence, but I saw the quiet battles no one applauded. What you carried in secret required a strength only heaven fully understands. When you felt unseen, I was watching closely, not to judge, but to count every moment you chose to persevere rather than give in. You endured when your strength was gone. You stayed when everything in you wanted to run. You lifted your eyes to me even when your heart was too heavy to speak. That, right there, is where victory began. Not in the moment you overcame, but in the moment you refused to surrender to darkness. You didn't lose your way. You found your courage in the deepest places. You didn't come this far by chance. You've walked through fire and still refused to let it steal your hope. This was not failure. It was refining. And now, what remains after the testing is stronger than what you had before. Endurance is not passive. It is the fiercest form of faith. You chose me when the road was lonely. You trusted me when answers never came. You followed me with bruised souls and trembling hands, and still you stood firm. You believed, and I call that holy. I call that enough. The unseen labor of your endurance has shifted things in the spiritual realm that you have yet to see in the physical. You think you've been waiting on a miracle, but heaven has already released it because of what your heart chose under pressure. You weren't just enduring to survive, you were enduring for destiny. Every second you stayed faithful. You carved out a place in history that only your obedience could create. And while others counted you out, I was writing you into the next chapter of my glory story. You didn't break the test. The test revealed who you truly are, mine. And now I am lifting the weight you've carried. I am replacing it with a robe of divine strength. I am crowning you with the fruit of faithfulness. You are walking into a reward no man can give and no enemy can take away. Stay tuned. I am still moving. You waited long enough thinking I was late, but I was never behind schedule. Every moment I seemed absent, I was actually preparing what no one else could see. I wasn't ignoring your prayers. I was building a stage for the answer to step forward in its fullness. I do not respond to pressure, I respond to purpose. And now everything aligns. What you called delay was actually design. You cried out to the Lord, unaware that while you questioned the clock, I was preparing the entire timeline to obey my command. You were never overlooked. The silence was not punishment. It was a sacred stillness before the door swung wide open. This very moment you breathe in now is holy. Don't rush past it. The appointed hour is not coming, it is here. The weight you carried is now giving way to divine orchestration. I held you in a waiting room so I could complete what would have been incomplete if I allowed you to move earlier. I never let you settle for partial answers. I have prepared fullness for you. The connections falling into place now couldn't have arrived a moment sooner because they matured alongside you. I am not a God of half-built blessings. I finish what I start, and today what I began in you begins to appear on the surface. There's clarity forming around you like sunlight breaking through heavy fog. You're not wandering anymore. This moment is more than breakthrough. It's divine synchronization. The people, the place, and the timing are converging with prophetic precision. Soon you will understand why the earlier seasons had to stretch long. What you thought you lost during the delay will now be returned with increase. I redeem time, not by rewinding the past, but by releasing acceleration in the present. That's what's happening to you right now. You're entering answered prayers without resistance. Not because the battle vanished, but because the appointed moment has arrived. Your name is being called in realms you've never walked. The door didn't open because you knocked harder. It opened because it's time. And I declare to you now, this is your moment of release. It is not by force. It is not by chance. It is because I have spoken, and when I speak, the earth responds. Keep listening. I'm just getting started. Even in the places you whispered into darkness, thinking no one heard, I was there. You couldn't see me, but my presence wrapped around you like breath. You didn't notice you were still breathing. I stood by your side in rooms where you felt invisible. When your voice trembled too much to pray, when your hands were too weak to lift, I was closer than the pain, closer than the memory, closer than your next heartbeat. You imagined heaven was far away, in some unreachable distance. But heaven moved with you step by step, tear by tear. I saw when you waited for comfort from people who never came. I saw you look around wondering who would understand and find no one. But I was not absent. I was waiting until your eyes met mine in that silence. And when your own heart betrayed you with thoughts of giving up, I whispered your name so gently that your spirit stirred again, even when you didn't know why. It wasn't strength returning on its own. That was me laying my hand on your chest and saying, live again. Do you feel it now, a stirring, a shift? It's not emotion, it's encounter. Because even now I am proving that I never needed an open church, a loud song, or a crowded space to visit you. You are my sanctuary. You are the dwelling place where my glory longs to rest. And I have not only walked with you, I have carried you through terrain that would have buried others. I'm not waiting somewhere for you to arrive at me. I've been walking inside the places you couldn't bring anyone else. I've navigated the narrowest parts of your soul, tracing every fracture with mercy and every doubt with unrelenting love. You called yourself forgotten, but I wrote your name on my hand. You thought you were invisible, but I whispered your value into eternity. And even when your own voice said, I don't matter, my spirit replied, you are the one I left the 99 for. You never had to earn my nearness. You were never abandoned for a second. I've been waiting for this moment to show you that not only have I never left, I've been drawing you nearer, layer by layer, until you realize I was never gone. I was hiding glory in your grief, and now that glory is about to rise. Keep leaning. I am still here, and I am still speaking. The forces that tried to wear you down, the systems that seemed stacked against your name, the plans others built to see you fail, they are now dismantled and rebuilt under my command. You did imagine the pressure, and you were right about the resistance. It was real. It tried to tamper your progress, frustrate your purpose, and silence your growth. But what it didn't know is that I never allowed it to succeed. I only allowed it to shape what would now push you forward. What opposed you was permitted only so its weapons could be transformed into tools. I am turning those very instruments of chaos into cornerstones of your next level. What was meant to restrict you is now forced to release resources. What was organized to block you is now building a pathway under your feet. What once screamed barrier is now rewritten to say breakthrough. Can you feel the shift unfolding beneath you? The same people who tried to exclude you are stirred by my spirit to call you in. Those who doubted your worth are positioned to validate what I placed upon you. Not because you need their approval, but so I can show through your life how I use resistance to bring about my promise. This is not karma. This is kingdom reversal. I am not punishing your enemies. I am preparing a table, and not just any table, a table set by the one with authority over the seen and unseen. Even the winds that once blew against you now shift direction to carry you. The same closed doors that made you weep are swinging wide, not by chance, but because I redirected the hinges of the atmosphere around your assignment. What didn't cooperate before is now under my instruction. I speak to systems, structures, and hearts that rejected you. And I say, make way. You are not coming in through the back. You are ushered through the front, not to boast, but to fulfill. And I say to every force that delayed your harvest, you must now deliver. Your hands will not leave empty. The battle has changed, and now what tried to bury you is elevating you. Keep walking. Don't stop to question. The sudden shift is me, and I am still moving. They spoke as if your story had ended. They looked at your weariness and mistook it for weakness. They called your delay defeat. But what they failed to see, what they couldn't comprehend, was that I had my hand on you while they mocked your stillness. I let them speak because their words fueled the fire I've kindled inside you. Every harsh opinion, dismissive tone, and whisper behind your back will be eclipsed by my undeniable elevation in your life. I do not respond to the crowd. I rise for my chosen. And now I will silence them, not with rebuke, but with proof. I will elevate you so those who watched you fall will have no choice but to witness you fly. I will display my faithfulness through you, not as vengeance, but as validation that I work behind the scenes. This is your unveiling. Not to glorify you, but to glorify what grace can do with a surrendered soul. What they laughed at, I am crowning. What they abandoned, I am lifting high. The voices that said you'd never recover will hear your testimony echo where they cannot ignore it. I am turning ridicule into recognition, not because you need their attention, but to show what happens when someone refuses bitterness and waits on me. Let them watch. I am preparing your next move with divine clarity. Their criticism was loud, but my confirmation will thunder. Those who counted you out will witness your assignment unfold with unstoppable momentum. You won't have to explain or prove anything. You will simply rise. You will soar on strength they said you lacked. And when they ask how, they will know it could only be me. This is not about proving them wrong. It's about proving no opinion can override my word. This lifting is not from effort. It's from the unshakable fact that I never left you. You stayed when it was easier to quit. You held on when it hurt, and now those who dismissed you will witness the divine hand that never released you. Let them look. What I'm about to do in you will leave them speechless. And I am not finished. Stay close. What unfolds is not just a shift in circumstances. It is the dismantling of everything that tried to claim permanent space in your soul without my permission. I'm not giving partial relief. I'm uprooting the very roots of oppression that tried to chain itself to your identity. You don't need a seasonal blessing. You need a complete spiritual exodus. And that is happening now. Even as you stand in tension between old and new, You feel something but can't name it. Let me name it for you. It's called freedom. Not the kind that calms storms, but the kind that empties your soul of every agreement you made with fear, despair, shame, and hopelessness. This is not behavior modification. This is soul-level release. I'm breaking silent vows made just to survive. I'm touching the places you hid from, even yourself. You asked me to fix outcomes, but I'm here to free the inside. Deliverance isn't just chains falling off. It's when your breath deepens again, when your vision returns, when your voice sounds like hope again. You don't realize how bound you were because the pressure became familiar. But now I'm severing invisible tethers. Those that tied you to trauma, linked you to lies, kept you in cycles disguised as comfort. I am dismantling false shelters you built from disappointment. Walls that felt like protection will come down, not to expose you, but to liberate you. You are walking out of a soul prison, not broken, but with new strength. What haunted your nights will no longer whisper. What followed you in silence is commanded to release its grip. You are not just being rescued, you are being restored to the original design I wrote before the world taught you fear. This deliverance is full, fierce, and final. Once begun, it does not stop halfway. It completes what it starts. Today is not random. It is the appointed hour of reversal. What begins now will not be undone. You will not return to who you were before this shift. You will not be dragged back into shadows. You were delivered from this. This freedom is permanent and carries my signature. Walk boldly. You're not just changing direction. You are stepping into who you were always meant to be. Stay close. There is more I must show you. Every time you tried to move forward but felt invisible resistance pushing you back, that was no imagination. It was spiritual opposition anchoring your steps. You prayed for movement, but progress wasn't denied. It was entangled, tied to past expectations, unmet hopes, unspoken disappointments, and burdens from those who never understood your calling. But now, in this sacred moment, my voice breaks through those invisible restraints. No chain is strong enough to withstand my word. As you receive this, something loosens beneath the surface. You feel it but can't explain it. The heaviness with no name is lifting. The hesitation you couldn't justify dissolves. These are not just emotional shifts. This is supernatural deliverance happening now. The places where you felt stuck now yield to the authority of my spirit. No more cycles of delay. No more invisible ceilings. No more repeating the same motions without traction. I have issued a divine order in the unseen realm. Let go of what is mine, and the atmosphere around you must obey. Chains of fear are disintegrating. Chains of false identity are collapsing. Chains from words spoken against you. Trauma buried deep, seasons of rejection, they're all being cut with precision by my hand. I use truth, not force. Where my truth enters, no lie survives. What once shackled you in silence is dismantled by my decree. Your momentum restores, not artificially, not by hype, but through holy unlocking. You are not too late. You are not too behind. You are not too broken. You are exactly where I needed you so I could reach the place no one else could. This is not the beginning of your freedom. It is the continuation of what I've long been setting in motion behind the scenes. Now it reaches you. Now it manifests. Don't look back to test if chains still hold. They're no longer attached. Don't analyze how it broke. Just walk. Walk knowing I've interrupted everything that tried to stop you. Your feet are free. Your mind clears. Your voice gains power again. This is the season of movement without resistance. Breakthrough without breakdown. Forward without fear. Keep going. I'm leading you into lands that once seemed unreachable, and I won't stop. Stay in step with me. Even the quietest cry you released into your pillow, even the thought you couldn't shape into words but groaned under weariness, I caught it. You wondered if you were speaking into emptiness. if your voice vanished after it left your lips. But I tell you now, not a syllable was lost. Not a whisper passed me by. Your tears translated your petitions. When your voice broke, I was not a distant God needing formal speech to respond. I am a Father who hears the trembling of your heart before you dare speak it aloud. The moments you prayed with nothing left but breath were when I leaned in closest. You asked for answers, and though timing felt unbearable, I was already moving. Every delay was not denial, it was preparation, calibration, divine orchestration. I didn't ignore your cries. I built a foundation to hold what you asked for. You prayed for open doors, but first I ensured the room behind wouldn't collapse beneath the fulfillment. I honored every why, even angry ones, even broken ones. My love isn't threatened by your rawness. Your honesty invited me deeper. And even now, as you reflect on prayers you thought forgotten, I awaken answers in unexpected places. The wait has been long, yes, but not empty. It has been sacred, layered with purpose. I stored every prayer in heaven's vault, and none expired. Some release now, even before you recall asking. Some fulfill differently but satisfy deeply. What you thought overlooked is what I'm now using to overflow. You weren't talking to wind. You were setting miracles in motion. You seeded outcomes into time, and I nurtured every seed precisely. The atmosphere aligns. The answers draw near. Not one request was too small. Not one question ignored. I heard you, and now you will see the fruit of being heard by the one who never forgets. Stay close. What unfolds will undeniably connect to the words you prayed in trembling hope. I never asked the world for permission to act on your behalf. I didn't consult your history, qualifications, or opinions before deciding what I'd do through you. I authored your story beyond natural understanding. What others dismissed as fantasy, I called your future. You heard them say it can't happen. You heard voices say it's too late, too far gone, too broken to fix. But I've never been bound by statistics, timelines, or impossibilities. I am the creator of possibility itself. What man calls unlikely, I call guaranteed when my hand is involved. Every doubt they had measured by sight, I built something behind the veil. What seems impossible to them is the stage I chose to reveal my glory through you. I don't need perfect conditions. I move in chaos and bring divine order. I speak to dead things and they respond with life. I breathe on ashes and beauty rises. The no you heard from the world was not final. It was the setup for my undeniable yes. Why mark something as inevitable? Nothing on earth or beneath can reverse it. Your victory does not depend on chance, connection, or human validation. It is rooted in my unshakable word. The walls built to keep you out become the backdrop to the miracle I'm unfolding through you. You will walk through what blocked you, not by force, but by the authority I placed on your obedience. Your faith in the unseen moved mountains others thought would stand forever. I've watched you trust me even when evidence was lacking. I've seen your belief bloom in barren places. And now I respond not just with enough, but with overflow that silences every mocking voice. You step into what they said would never happen. Not to prove them wrong, but to prove I was always right about you. I didn't change my mind when they chained theirs. I didn't alter my promise because they lost sight of yours. What I've written remains. What I declared over you cannot be undone. Let them watch. Let them wonder, but never doubt. What they said was impossible, I settled as inevitable. And I walk in truth because I'm not done revealing what I began. You searched with weary hands and tear-stained eyes, hoping to find a way through walls too high to scale and too wide to go around. You knocked until your knuckles bled in silence, and still nothing moved. You questioned yourself, your worth, your calling, wondering if the path was hidden because you weren't chosen. But what you didn't see was I wasn't preparing a door for you to stumble on. I was preparing you to walk through a door not yet existing in your timeline. I am not restricted to what already stands. I create access where there was only obstruction. When I say I am the door, nothing moves forward unless I allow it. No force in hell or on earth can keep shut what I've declared open. The opportunity slipping out of reach wasn't denial. It was delay until you could carry it with strength and clarity. You weren't forgotten, you were fortified. And now, the delay is over. What resisted you is about to yield at your approach. Not because you're louder, but because my presence goes before you. You won't push this time. You won't manipulate or strive. This door will swing open at your arrival because the atmosphere recognizes the anointing I've placed on you. You are not knocking anymore. You're walking in. You are stepping into rooms you didn't train for, platforms you didn't campaign for, conversations you never thought you'd be invited into. This is not luck or coincidence. It's divine orchestration manifesting now. I am the key and the gatekeeper. I open for those I call, and I've called you not for survival, but for kingdom purpose. The places that ignored you will now be unable to operate without your voice. The corridors you only imagined walking are becoming your new normal. And you won't walk timidly. You'll walk with authority, not arrogance, but alignment. This opening is not temporary. This access is not fragile. It's secured by my name and sealed by my blood. Every step from here is under favor you didn't earn, but endured for. Step forward, not with hesitation, but reverence. The door is no longer missing. It is here. It is open, and I hold it wide. Some days pass with routine, time flowing quietly with no shift, but not today. Today carries divine interruption. It is drenched in the oil of reversal. Everything against you, currents pulling back, outcomes reinforcing lies of no change. Those cycles break by my voice now. I didn't choose this moment randomly. I reserved, protected, and assigned angels so nothing contaminates what I release through it. This hour carries authority, overrides generational patterns, breaks emotional chains. Your hat resets the fabric of your life. Spiritual winds shifted direction. What was falling apart comes together. Not by your strategy, but my sovereignty. Pain echoing through seasons is silenced by a new sound. Restoration. Not just return to old places, but launch into what you never believed was yours. Today is the day heaven's declarations override earthly predictions. I'm not tweaking your story. I'm flipping it. I turn mourning into dancing so fast you'll forget how long you sat in ashes. I'm not asking permission to reverse what stood too long. I'm commanding it. Bitterness trades for joy. Confusion clears for clarity. Lack leaves, abundance arrives. You're not who you were this morning. Something shifted in the unseen, and now it catches up visibly. You thought change would take years, but I compress timelines, collapse delays, release outcomes at obedience's speed. This isn't motivation. This is divine pivot. Those who thought they knew your story's end will rewrite their assumptions. I rewrite the chapter, not with ink, but fire. Fire that purifies, heals, seals the new path. Let your spirit receive this. The reversal has begun. You won't beg for it. You won't chase it. It will find you because I ordained it. What the enemy built for your downfall becomes evidence of your deliverance. You stepped into a moment carrying destiny. Own it. Believe it. Move in it. This is not just a good day. This is your marked hour of transformation. The next breath you take is already different because I am in it. What your eyes see may still resemble ruins, the remnants of unanswered prayers, abandoned promises, dormant dreams under dust of delay. But I call you to lift your gaze beyond what is visible. The scene is not the conclusion. It's scaffolding for something I restore piece by piece. Don't let what hasn't shifted deceive your spirit. Brokenness isn't the final story. It's the canvas for my glory. Under your waiting surface, I weave restoration so intricate, even fractured parts will gleam with purpose. You see cracks, I see openings for my light. You see damage, I see divine blueprints. I'm not intimidated by what's broken. I specialize in beauty from what others discard. Let them walk from what they called too far gone. I stayed. I saw what it would become when you lacked strength to believe. I'm not fixing, I'm forming. You won't return to the former broken version. It won't look or feel the same. It will be stronger, deeper, richer, drenched in my presence. You won't recognize what emerges because it carries heaven's fingerprints, not pain's residue. Don't anchor faith in what eyes see. Anchor it in what I declared. This is the tension between what is and what's coming. The unfinished frame isn't failure. It's proof the master builder is still on site. Your faith isn't wasted here. Your worship in this in-between builds the atmosphere for miracles. Even when chaos makes no sense, trust I build in rhythms beyond human understanding. I place divine order in mess. I construct wholeness from what seemed beyond repair. Don't be lured into hopelessness by what hasn't moved. Every delay is layered with design. Every delay wrapped in timing. You stand at the edge of something breathtaking. Dust in your eyes is about to blow away by the breath of my spirit. Pieces aren't lost, they're gathered. Stay anchored. What looked irreparable soon rises as a testimony only I could do. They watched your silence and assumed surrender. They saw pressure and believed your purpose broken beyond repair. They misread your waiting as burial and stillness as defeat. But while they thought it was the end, they stood at a divine unveiling's threshold. What seemed your lowest was when I bent down to lift you higher than ever. While enemies celebrated your stillness, I stirred resurrection quietly within. I let noise die so when I raise you, it credits only my hand. This wasn't the end. It was the hush before your rising's roar. I never abandoned you to mock. I placed you in obscurity for an undeniable unveiling. They called you finished, but I called you hidden. They said it was over, but I was just beginning. I don't launch from applause. I launch from surrender. Your surrender gave me access to write an unseen chapter. What I do now can't be predicted because it's original, not recycled. I don't recycle your past, I birth your future from places the enemy never knew. You're not returning to who you were. You emerge refined, anointed, equipped, sealed by fire. I allowed opposition because it built resistance your spirit needed to grow. You thought you lost ground, but I enlarged your territory. You felt like fading, but I darkened the stage, so my glory's spotlight shines when right. And now is that time. I don't wait for permission to start your next chapter. I don't negotiate your calling with crowds. I elevate you because I chose you. Let every lie be silenced by what I do in you. Let every mocking voice fall silent as I raise you from where they left you. This comeback needs no revenge, just revelation. My presence's truth speaks louder than slander. You don't have to fight to be seen. I make your unveiling undeniable. This is your appointed moment to rise, not to prove yourself, but to prove my word never returns void. I'm not done with you. I've only just begun. The pages ahead are richer than all behind. Walk forward. I'm still unfolding more. There were moments the weight of waiting crushed your hope. You measured worth against timelines, wondered if forgotten, overlooked, bypassed while others advanced. But know this now, deep in your spirit, what looked like delay, I designed as protection. I didn't withhold blessings. I withheld what would have broken you if it came too soon. What seemed like closed doors were walls to block harm from your purpose. I saw traps behind opportunities. I saw pressure hiding behind positions. I saw compromise clogged in connection. And while you begged me to open paths, I guarded your future with love that proves itself in time, not moments. The waiting was not wasted. I stood between you and counterfeit provisions. I delayed not to discourage, but to refine discernment, so you won't be fooled by lesser offers. I slowed pace not to punish, but to strengthen trust's muscles. Where I take you requires endurance, not excitement. I let doors remain shut so you'd recognize my voice over the crowd's noise. Every knot you tied was soaked in mercy. Every pause and promise wrapped in precision. Had I answered early, you'd step into blessings not fully formed, crushing more than carrying. But because you waited, because you stayed when wandering was easier, because you chose me over impatience, I release what's right and ready. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right on time for what was custom made with your name and its foundation. Don't look back with regret for long seasons. They were sacred pauses, not wasted chapters. They were holy wombs of your becoming. Now, protection given in darkness reveals itself in light. You'll say, "Thank you, Lord, for not giving what I thought I needed. What I place now won't slip, break, or betray. It will bless, build, and last." The wait was not your enemy, it was your covering. Now the time is full, and I remove the veil, releasing what only comes when your heart, spirit, and path are ready. Keep watching. I'm not done guiding you. You begged for access, acceptance, that one thing, place, or person to complete what felt empty. You believed it was good. You were convinced it was necessary. You wrapped hope around it and called it a blessing. But I, who see eternally, looked where you couldn't discern, and I blocked it. Not to frustrate, but to save you from collapse disguised. What seemed aligned outside held pain beneath. Had I said yes, it would have tangled peace, distorted vision, drained purpose. I withheld not from cruelty, but because my love doesn't compromise. I won't fasten your future to what can't carry it. I saw cracks behind charm, wounds behind welcome, shadows in open doors. I heard what wasn't spoken. I saw masks in timing. So I shut the door quietly. You felt the ache of silence, but it was a father shielding his child from harm unseen. My no was not rejection. It was redirection. I wouldn't let you settle because I saw what was coming. I saw how easily you'd pitch your heart in temporary places. And I love you too much to let that happen where I'm not present. You thought you missed out, but what you missed was mercy. I removed you from what seemed whole so I could take you somewhere your soul won't fracture again. Now you see glimpses of why I said no. The peace in your spirit now, that is confirmation. The heaviness gone, that is my signature. The internal freedom that needs no validation, that is protection. Know this. Nothing I withheld wasn't for your preservation. I'd rather disappoint your expectations than watch your spirit crumble under counterfeit blessings. I allowed tears but stopped tragedy. Even now, I steer you. Trust me when I turn you away. Trust me when I remove what you prayed to keep. My deeds don't confuse, they cover. You're not leaving empty, you're leaving with wisdom. Where I take you next needs discernment born from this lesson. Keep walking. You'll thank me, not just for what I gave, but for what I refused. You questioned the stillness. You listened for answers and heard none. You pleaded for signs and saw shadows. In unbearable quiet, you wondered if I left, if your prayers vanished into voids. But what you called silence, I called sacred preparation. I wasn't ignoring. I was orchestrating something too holy for noise. Heaven moved stealthily while your world stood still. I know silence can feel like abandonment. Quiet seasons press against confidence like walls. But while you sat in hush, I tuned the atmosphere for unveiling. Like a symphony paused before crescendo. Like hush before a bride enters. Like hush before a verdict. This was divine silence, not absence. You weren't overlooked, you were reserved for something weightier than words. In that moment, I didn't want distraction in your ears while shaping a new breakthrough sound. And that sound is rising now. The silence breaks, not with chaos, but redemption's rhythm. The coming sound isn't noise. It's harmony of answered prayers, restored dignity, long-awaited joy no longer delayed. Celebration replaces confusion. Where you once sat in silence wondering if forgotten, now praise erupts from your lips. Not forced, but impossible to hold back. The stillness was needed so you'd recognize the unmistakably divine sound. The clamor around faded so you discern the voice that comes from me alone. Now silence lifts, and with it, so do you. What I prepared in quiet cannot be stolen openly. Your testimony grows louder. Walls once echoing nothing will soon shake with victory shouts. I let you walk the quiet so you come out with unshakable awareness of my presence, even when you hear nothing. Because you did not curse silence, you're now entrusted with the sound that follows. Celebration will be not just personal, but prophetic. Others drawn to the melody of what I do in your life. Your existence will prove silence is never wasted when stewarded with faith. So take a deep breath. Can you hear it? Stillness is changing. Celebration has begun in heaven, and it's descending now. You have walked through storms not designed merely for survival. The kind of darkness that doesn't just attempt to block the light, but tries to extinguish it entirely. There were moments when the weight felt unbearable, when even your breath seemed too heavy to carry. The assault wasn't just external, it was spiritual. Emotional, internal. You were targeted in silence, attacked in hidden places, wounded by what no one else could see. The enemy didn't just want to delay you, he aimed to erase you. He sought to crush your voice, dissolve your courage, drain your purpose, and confuse your identity. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still believing, still standing. Not by accident, but by divine intervention. What was meant to consume you was interrupted by my hand. When the flood tried to rise, I lifted the standard. When the fire came to consume, I stood in the flames with you. They won't understand how you didn't collapse under what was designed to break you in half. They won't be able to explain why you still carried peace when the war should have left you in pieces. They'll ask how you still smile with scars so deep, how you speak hope with a past so heavy. And your only answer will be, it was never me. It was the Lord who held me together. I didn't just preserve your life, I preserved your purpose. I shielded your mind from snapping. I sealed your spirit when darkness tried to invade. I carried you when your legs gave way. And now I am preparing to put on display what I preserved. The ones who pass you in pain, the ones who judge you from afar, the ones who thought your silence was surrender, they will see a strength they never imagined, but it will not be your strength. They're witnessing, it will be the residue of my faithfulness. Your life will become a mystery they cannot solve, not because you are flawless, but because my grace wrapped your weakness and turned it into testimony. You are living proof that hell can launch its worst and still not win. That what was meant to end you can become the very stage where glory is revealed. So do not be ashamed of what you survived. Do not hide the places that once hurt. I will use them. I will redeem them. And those who once asked, "Where is your God?" will now come to you saying, "Tell me how to find him." You are not just a survivor. You are a signpost. And the story I wrote on your life will echo louder than any attack that tried to silence you. Keep walking forward. Your very existence is prophecy fulfilled. They questioned your worth because they couldn't see the weight of your calling. They labeled you by your lowest moments. Unaware, I watched from the highest place, writing chapters no one else could read. They laughed when you fell. They whispered when you broke. They called you unqualified, unworthy, unimportant. But I never echoed their opinions. I called you mine, and now I will answer every insult. Not with vengeance, but with vindication. Not with loud defense, but with visible elevation. You will not need to explain yourself. I will explain you through the way I raise you. I am not lifting you to impress anyone. I'm lifting you because you remained faithful when no one was watching. I saw the days you walked in obedience while ignored, criticized, questioned, and now I bring clarity to your calling by placing you where only I could position you. You won't beg for a platform. You won't compete for recognition. I am exalting you, not for applause, but for my assignment. They will watch doors open for you that no one can shut. They'll witness your destiny unfold and marvel, not at your ability, but at your resilience, humility, unwavering yes to me. What once seemed unreachable will now be your daily ground. I'm not elevating your name to boast. I'm elevating your testimony to point back to me. You were overlooked, but I never took my eyes off you. You were doubted, but I never questioned what I placed inside you. And now I make the private weight you carried visible through public favor. This is not for show. This is for glory. I use your life to speak a louder message than words. I will silence every lie by amplifying truth through your journey. No one will deny what I've done because your story won't fit natural explanation. They will say, only God could do this. And they'll be right. I'm setting you before those who once dismissed you, not for revenge, but for revelation. They will witness you healed and whole, walking with authority and grace, and through you they will recognize the one who called you. Keep your heart pure. Maintain a humble posture, because the elevation that awaits you will demand a deeper surrender, not less. You are not rising for popularity. You are rising for purpose. And through your obedience, I will speak louder than any defense you could ever offer. This is how I respond, not with noise, but with undeniable fruit. And I am far from finished. Watch closely what comes next. You never sought attention. You never chased the spotlight. You never constructed your life around applause. That's why I am raising you up now, because I trust you with visibility without it stealing your humility. I'm not exalting you for admiration. I'm positioning you so that my power can be displayed through your story. This platform will not be built on popularity or human hype. It will be built on obedience, endurance, and surrender. Every unseen act of faith, every silent yes, every time you persevered when retreat seemed easier, those are the pillars I'm now building upon. You are stepping into a place you never campaigned for. You are rising into influence you never schemed to achieve. And this is precisely how I will be glorified, because all will know it wasn't by your strength alone. I'm giving you reach, not to promote yourself, but to magnify my name. Your words will carry weight, not because they're polished, but because they're soaked in authenticity and tested truth. This is not a season for performance. It's a season for prophetic presence. I'm making your life a message. I'm transforming your journey into a scroll others will read, not for entertainment, but for encounter. They will feel me when you speak. They will sense me when you move. They will hunger for me because they'll see you carry something the world cannot provide. But don't confuse the honor with comfort. This platform will stretch you. It will demand deeper wells of dependence. Greater visibility means greater accountability to remain tethered to me. I won't allow the elevation to pull you from the altar. Instead, I will draw you closer, whispering strategy, giving insight, delivering blueprints straight from my heart. I'm placing you not above others, but in front of them, so they can see what it looks like when someone walks through fire and still reflects heaven. The weight I'm placing on your life will not crush you. It will awaken others. This is not about fame. It's about freedom. I will place you where chains still linger, so your very presence will proclaim that liberty is possible. I will open doors in unlikely places. You will speak the words I give you, not for applause, not for validation, but for awakening. I'm not merely lifting you. I'm launching a movement through your surrendered yes. You thought you were just recovering, but I have been commissioning you all along. This is the hour. Stand firm. I'm not finished giving instructions. You have endured seasons of locked doors, closed opportunities, and relentless rejection. You've watched others step into rooms you were prepared for, yet your name remained uncalled. Those no's echoed louder than you admitted, carving doubt where faith once thrived. You questioned yourself, if something inside you was unworthy, if perhaps you missed your moment. But now I speak clearly to that ache. Those denials were never about your worth. They were about my timing. And now I stand before every door that once shut in your face, declaring, open. My yes is not hesitant. It is not conditional. It is not small. It carries the full weight of heaven behind it. I am overturning verdicts, rewriting decisions, and reversing outcomes that never aligned with my plan for your life. Where you heard unqualified, I declare chosen. Where you heard too late, I proclaim, now is the time. Where you heard no space, I am making room. The delays and denials were not to hurt you. They were protecting the place where your yes belongs. Because I never send my children into spaces that cannot sustain them. I waited until the moment the environment was ready to receive the fullness of who I created you to be. Now I send you back into places you once left in tears. This time with authority. You will not return as the wounded version shaped by rejection. You will walk carrying the weight of my yes, and every atmosphere will respond. Do not be surprised when what once ignored you now invites you. Do not be confused when you receive offers you did not apply for, favor you did not fight for, and access you did not campaign to earn. My yes requires no human agreement to manifest. I don't need understanding, I don't need approval. When I say yes, the natural yields to the supernatural. The very places that overlooked you will be compelled to make space. And you will walk through, not bitter, not boastful, but with grace and gratitude, because you will know it wasn't your strength, your connections, or your plans. It was me. I have watched you handle every no with humility. Now I place my yes in your hands with power ready. Answers are coming swiftly. Doors are unlocking suddenly. Hearts are turning unexpectedly. You will not have to force anything open. I have already spoken. My yes has gone ahead of you, and it will not return empty. Keep moving. The path is clear. You feel hidden. You feel overlooked. You've seen others called forward while you stayed faithful but unseen. You've questioned if your season of visibility will ever arrive, if anyone even knows what you carry, if the dreams I gave you will find a place to live. But hear me now. While you've waited in obedience, I've been announcing your name in the hearts of those prepared to receive you. You don't have to force exposure. I'm speaking for you right now, in boardrooms, offices, gatherings you've never entered. Your name stirs in minds that don't yet know why. I've placed your name in the mouths of those who can shift your direction, not because of who you know, but because of who you are in me. You have been faithful in silence. Now, I place your name on scrolls of divine remembrance. People will seek you, not because you advertise yourself, but because my spirit draws them to your purpose. These moments aren't random. They are divine alignments orchestrated by heaven's strategy. Your name is tied to assignments, opportunities, partnerships, and invitations you didn't foresee. But I have seen them all along. Don't be surprised when favor finds you. Don't be startled when your inbox fills with offers or doors open without knocking. You're not being discovered. You're being revealed. This is not man's doing. This is the unveiling of my hand. Prepare yourself, not to impress, but to steward what's coming. It requires more than skill readiness. It requires purity of heart. I have kept you hidden so your character could grow in quiet strength. I have trained your spirit in secret, so when the call comes, you'll rise, not seeking validation, but carrying vision. I am not merely giving you access, I am giving you authority. When you step in, do not diminish what you carry. Do not shrink to fit the expectations of those unaware of your process. You are not entering as a guest. You are arriving as one summoned by heaven's decree. You will feel the weight of destiny, not as pressure, but as peace, because this moment didn't come by your striving, but by my timing. Hold your head high. Your name rests in the hands of the one who holds the world, and I never drop what I carry ready. Your name is rising. They told you it wasn't your time. They turned you away. Closed doors slammed in your face. They withheld what you were ready to receive. You accepted, not because you agreed with their judgment, but because you trusted me more than your own timeline. I saw that. I saw you surrender when your heart wanted to fight. I saw you bow and trust instead of breaking in bitterness. And now I tell you, what was once withheld is no longer out of reach. But I am not restoring it the way it left. I am restoring it, multiplied, refined, and overflowing. What was once a single opportunity is becoming a stream of divine access. What was once one open door is now multiple pathways bursting wide under my command. I never forgot what was taken from you. I never overlooked the moments you felt stripped while others advanced. That no, you endured with grace was not the end. It was the seed of something far greater. Now I return what was lost in delay. I repay you with acceleration. I compensate for the years the locusts devoured, not with a mere refund, but with resurrection level increase. This isn't payback, it's ore. So breathe deeply. You're no longer moving by your own strength. You're moving in mine. Stop rehearsing what failed. Stop measuring today by yesterday's disappointment. I'm not asking you to forget what happened. I'm asking you to stop letting it define what I can do next. The failure you've carried like a badge isn't your identity. That missed chance, that closed door, that broken moment, it didn't disqualify you. It prepared you. You've mourned long enough. You've apologized more than I ever asked. I never held it against you. My mercy doesn't run on your timelines. It renews daily, like breath, sunrise, rhythm. Today, that mercy fits where you stand right now. Fresh mercy doesn't remind you of your past. It unlocks your future. I know how easy it is to let regret consume you, to analyze every detail and wonder what you could have done differently. But what if I told you, even in what fell apart, I was present? Even in what you call failure, I was sowing wisdom, cultivating strength, anchoring your spirit. You haven't missed me. You haven't ruined your chances. You're not late. You're learning that I do not discard those who stumble. I carry them. I redeem them. I revive them. That's what I'm doing in you now. Today is not a replay of pain, it's the start of restoration. It's not based on performance, it's based on my promise. I'm not waiting for you to be perfect. I'm waiting for you to receive what I've already poured out. There is mercy today, enough to heal, rebuild, and spark what seemed lost forever. Let me cleanse the weight of yesterday from your mind. Let me remind you, I don't measure your worth by what you got right. I measure your surrender. You stayed close. You didn't run. You cried but didn't let go. That alone qualifies you for a new beginning. So release self-condemnation. Throw off the invisible chains of what could have been. I'm doing something new, and it doesn't require you to carry your old baggage. This new mercy carries no memory of the stumble. It carries the blueprint for your comeback. It's flowing over you now. Quietly, fully seeping into every space where shame once lived. Don't resist it. Receive it. As you do, you'll feel it. The lifting, the clarity, the peace that comes when you truly believe it's okay to begin again. And it is okay. Not because you said so, because I did. Now let's move forward. You and me, unburdened by yesterday, lit by the mercy of this moment. I heard every word they said. Spoken in haste, whispered in bitterness, shouted in brokenness. I know how deeply those words pierced you. They didn't just brush your mind. They tried to bury themselves in your identity, like arrows dipped in shame. They came to define you. For too long, you carried labels that were never yours to wear. But I am speaking now. My voice overrides all others. Every curse wrapped in familiarity. Every insult masked as advice. Every false prophecy wrapped in someone else's pain. I am silencing them. My promise is louder. My truth is heavier. My word is final. What they said in anger, I reverse with grace. They called you weak. I call you fortified. They called you a failure. I call you fruitful. They called you too much, too little, too late. I call you perfectly positioned for my purpose. Their words may echo in your memories, but they do not narrate your destiny. I do. I was there when they spoke, and I've been undoing the damage ever since. You thought you had to grow it, approve it, but you don't. You only need to believe what I speak now. Their words do not define you, and they never did. I'm severing the spiritual weight tied to those utterances. I'm uprooting lies that sounded true because they came from voices you trusted, even if well-meaning. If it didn't come from my heart, it cannot stand. My truth carries no shame. It doesn't push, it lifts. It doesn't diminish, it restores. Right now, I'm writing what's etched into your soul. Without my permission, you don't belong to their conclusions. You belong to my covenant. My promises were spoken over you long before any earthly voice shaped your worth. My word doesn't just sit beside lies, it replaces them. Expect a shift where you once heard hurt's echo. You'll sense hope's declarations. Where you winced at your own name, you'll feel it rise with honor again. Because I'm healing, not just your heart, I'm healing your history. You will not pass down what wounded you. You will not live under words I never spoke. I'm releasing cleansing over your mind, a recalibration of your identity, a restoration of your true name. Let me say it again: chosen, beloved, known, protected, anointed, yours. That is your name, that is your truth, and every other voice bows in silence. You've looked back too often, trying to make peace with what slipped through your hands. Regret painted your memories in heavy colors, blinding you to anything but failure and what could have been. But hear this clearly. I'm not just healing your past's effects. I'm redeeming the timeline itself. I'm rewriting the story, not erasing it, but transforming it so powerfully even your pain bows to my purpose. What you thought disqualified you is the ground where my glory will grow. I'm not simply restoring your heart. I'm restoring the narrative others attached to you. They said you'd always be broken, always behind, always bound to what happened. But I'm changing the script. Where the enemy wrote trauma, I write triumph. Where sorrow whispered silence, I write authority. You do not belong to the version who walked through fire. You belong to the one refined through it. I saw you when no one else did. I saw your unseen obedience, your quiet repentance, your determination to believe when all seemed lost. Now I'm turning the pages. I'm redeeming the chapters soaked in shame into declarations of grace. This is not cosmetic restoration. This is deep, holy reformation. You will no longer flinch at the past. You will speak of it with confidence because it no longer controls your future. I am sanctifying places that once tormented you. I am lifting the heaviness from your memory, wiping away accusations' residue, replacing it with peace that only I can give. You thought you'd live the rest of your life making up for what you missed. I don't need you to make up for anything. I've already covered it. The cross didn't just cover sin, it covered your story. It absorbed pain. It silenced guilt. It redeemed stolen years. As you step into this new chapter, know I'm not building on broken ground. I've already made it new. My beloved, if your heart was stirred, if your soul trembled even for a moment, that was me reaching. This wasn't just a video. It was a visitation. and it won't be the last. Every message here is not content, it is a calling. So don't just watch, return. Don't just scroll, respond. Because I will keep speaking through this channel. I will keep igniting the embers in your soul. And every time you come back, you will hear heaven more clearly than the world. So subscribe, not to stay informed, but to stay aligned. Like not for numbers, but to lift my voice above the noise. Share because someone you know is asleep, and this may be the cry that wakes them. And come back, not for entertainment, but for encounter. This is where shaking becomes clarity, where conviction becomes purpose, where wandering ends and walking with me begins. Until I speak again through the next message, stay awake, stay faithful, stay ready. Amen.